A mixed picture. We're chatting about it a little earlier. We were down, and when we spoke, we were in negative territory, and lo and behold, we went into positive.
Yeah, this is crazy stuff.
What was the reason, Chris?
But I mean, if you look at some of those big constituents of the Aussie there, I mean, Anglo up, what, 3.5%? I mean, that was nothing like that when I left. Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, and the other thing to bear in mind is at 3:30, we were looking at volume of about 6 billion. Yeah. And now we're looking at 10 billion.
Exactly.
So the big moves have come in the last half hour to 45 minutes. And we really are bucking the trend big time compared with the European markets particularly. So this is a reversal of fortune, but it's a very welcome one.
I had to say this. It's the usual suspects. We keep talking about Greece. And we're seeing quite a bit of volatility within the resource space. Is there a significant concern right now that we could see the developed market dipping into recession, and thus the demand for commodities could come under strain, despite the fact that China should be pulling us through that cycle?
Since the beginning of this year, in fact, going back even further, almost every week you look and you get these differing opinions coming out of the US. It's only in recent months that we've seen this kind of slew of negativity coming out of the US. But all of a sudden, in the past few days, maybe a couple of weeks, we're starting to see a little bit of momentum building up, saying, no, that the US economy is actually starting to pull out of it. Now, that being the case, let's not forget the US economy is still the biggest economy on earth by a massive margin. So yes, you're quite right. You do need to see the developed world turning around and moving ahead nicely. Otherwise, I wouldn't go down the road of talking about double-dip recession. But if we don't get global growth significantly higher than it's anticipated to be this year, then, you know, the demand for commodities might well slacken off a bit. We're still very much of the view that we're still in a super cycle as far as commodities are concerned. So yes, it would be a downwards leg in an overall much bigger picture. So we're still very positive on commodities.
Massmart also being in the news in today's, well, over the weekend, in fact. Of course, a lot of money being laid out for procurement. Do you think that is the right thing to do at this point in time? It's quite a costly exercise, 60 million rand or so.
Yeah, but look, I mean, they made these commitments at the end of the Competition Tribunal hearing.
60 billion rand.
60 billion rand, no, that's big. But if you look into the meat of the statement they put out, I mean, it's quite clear that they're actually going to create 15,000 jobs over the next few years. They're going to roll out a huge number of stores. They're not playing. I mean, let's not forget that Walmart as a company is significantly larger in terms of its value than the whole of the South African GDP. So this is a company that I think local suppliers would like to get be a part of and be part of that Walmart system. I think that's probably going to be part of the deal. But I think we're going to look back in a couple of years' time, once Walmart has managed to push prices down significantly. I don't know if you had a chance to look at some of the prices they were advertising at the weekend, and particularly in the appliances side, significant price reductions. And it's not like this is a weekly or a 2-weekly thing. This is going to last until the beginning of December. So I think it's a game changer. It really, they're coming in and they're making a massive difference to consumer spending.
And of course, as you can see, Massmart up 2%, also FirstRand up almost 1%, and very interesting news coming through from Zambia. Of course, issues with the bank that they've recently acquired.
Yeah, it's a bit ironic that we're now seeing the president saying, well, no, this has got to go back to the original owners of the company. This is one of the problems of doing business in Africa. You're never entirely sure that you've got title to the business that you think you're buying. But look, it's very small in the overall scheme of things with FirstRand. And if you look at the meat of what FirstRand is doing, they are doing all the right things at this point in time.
We've got the gold miners doing extremely well today. We saw the gold price rallying, but we also saw a much weaker local currency. Fear in the market again. Could it reverse as quickly as we saw the companies gaining ground? AngloGold Ashanti up around 2%. We saw Goldfields gaining over 2%. Harmony up 3.6%.
Yeah, and look, the more marginal you become, the greater the effect that you get of this so-called gear into the gold price. And you know, with the rand being as weak as it is, I mean, you had John Cairns earlier talking about the fact that it could conceivably go significantly weaker. In my experience in many years in the JSE, when you get the gold shares doing this type of thing, it does tend to come ahead of a weakening, of a further weakening in the rand-dollar exchange rate. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a further weakening in that, and then it becomes self-fulfilling, of course. Then you get more and more upwards momentum being built into the gold share prices.
Where are you finding value right now? I know you're going to answer resources, in fact. Yeah. Tell me which companies you're looking at.
We're looking at the diversified miners. We're looking at Anglo and Billiton, obviously. Companies like Exxaro, which you know, they've had a down day today.
Yeah,
but,
down 3.3%.
You know, nothing has changed fundamentally, other than, as I said a few moments ago, we may see a bit of a commodity prices coming off the boil. We've seen it with copper already, for example.
Yeah.
But in the longer term, the diversified miners like Anglo and Billiton particularly are exhibiting such incredibly good value that it's a compelling argument.